stop scrolling, cancel your meetings, lock your door, close the blinds, and turn the volume all the way up. I mean it. Do not let absolutely anything distract you for the next few minutes, because the mainstream sports media is currently trying to sell you a completely fabricated, incredibly disrespectful narrative about what just happened on Court 6, and I am not going to sit here and let them lie to this community. We all know who we support here. We know who the true rising star of the Women's Tennis Association is, and we protect our own. The commentators on television right now, the writers on the sports blogs, they are all pointing to the final scoreline of this doubles match and trying to tell you that Eala was humbled. They are looking at the 6-2, 6-2 result against Jelena Ostapenko and Hailey Baptiste, and they are trying to spin this as a failure. They are trying to say the veterans exposed her. They are absolutely, unequivocally, 100% wrong. What you are looking at on this screen right now is not a defeat. It is not a humiliation. What you are looking at is the forensic evidence of a terrifying, heroic, and absolutely flawless stand by a young prodigy who forced two seasoned Grand Slam veterans to play completely out of their minds just to survive her. This box score is not a story of Eala failing. It is the ultimate, undeniable proof of exactly how terrified the old guard is of her massive potential. They did not treat this like a normal doubles match. They treated this like a war for their own survival, because they know that if they do not try to break Eala right now, she is going to take absolutely everything from them in the next 2 years. To understand the true hidden brilliance of Eala in this match, you have to completely ignore the final score for a moment and look directly at the most mind-bending, mathematically impossible, god-tier statistic on this entire screen. Look at the first serve percentage. The Eala well for me. I need you to brace yourself and truly comprehend the magnitude of what this young woman achieved under immense, suffocating pressure. Eala and Iva Jovic hit 85% of their first serves. I am going to repeat that so it permanently burns into your memory, because the mainstream media is completely ignoring it. 85%. In the high-stakes, hyper-aggressive world of professional tennis, landing 85% of your first serves is considered a mechanical miracle. It is a video game statistic. It is the definition of absolute, unyielding perfection. Normally, if a player is getting 65 or 70% of their first serves into the box, they are considered to be having a fantastic serving day. But 85%? That means that every single time Eala stepped up to the service line, looked across the net at a former Grand Slam singles champion in Jelena Ostapenko, she did not flinch, her arm did not shake, her mechanics did not break down. She tossed the ball into the sun and executed her game plan with the cold, calculated precision of an absolute machine. She did exactly what her coaches asked her to do. She gave a masterclass in consistency, completely refusing to give away free points through unforced errors. She was a brick wall of perfection. So, the obvious question that the media refuses to answer is this: how in the world do you serve with 85% perfection and still lose the match? The answer is where the true heroism of Eala shines, and where the absolute, desperate panic of the veterans is completely exposed. Eala and Jovic did not lose because they played poorly. They lost because Jelena Ostapenko and Hailey Baptiste realized they were facing a young player who was literally not going to miss, and it caused them to completely abandon traditional tennis strategy in a state of sheer, unadulterated panic. The veterans looked at Eala's 85% first serve rate and realized, if we try to play standard, rally-based tennis against this girl, she is going to outgrind us. She is too consistent. She is too focused. We have to do something crazy. And so they resorted to reckless, desperate, do-or-die aggression. Look at the win percentage on first serve statistic. Even though Eala was landing perfectly placed first serves, she and Jovic only won 54% of those points. Why? Because Ostapenko, one of the hardest hitters in the history of the WTA Tour, was stepping directly inside the baseline and wildly swinging at absolute maximum power on every single return. It was not smart tennis, it was lottery tennis. The veterans were closing their eyes, swinging as hard as humanly possible, and praying the ball landed in. And on that specific day, on Court 6, their prayers were answered. They were hitting low percentage, desperate winners off of perfect Eala serves. Imagine the incredible mental fortitude it takes to be Eala in that exact situation. You are doing absolutely everything right. You are serving better than anyone else in the entire tournament. You are hitting your spots perfectly, and your opponent is just recklessly swinging out of their shoes and hitting miracle shots on the very edge of the lines. A weaker player would have cried. A weaker player would have thrown their racket, screamed at their coach, and completely melted down on the court. But what did Eala do? She kept her head down. She stayed incredibly composed. She went right back to the service line and continued to land her first serves with that beautiful, unbothered 85% accuracy. She refused to let their lucky, reckless play break her spirit. She stood in the fire like an absolute warrior, but the media wants to point to the win percentage on second serve and use it against her. They want to highlight that Eala and Jovic only won 20% of their second serve points. They want to call it a weakness. But if you truly understand the brutal psychology of the WTA Tour, you know that this number is actually a badge of honor. It proves that the veterans were specifically and maliciously targeting her because they view her as the ultimate threat to their legacy. When Eala missed that extremely rare first serve, the veterans did not just play out the point. They attacked her second serve with a level of ferocity and violence that you normally only see in the finals of a Grand Slam. They were teeing off. They were trying to physically intimidate her. They wanted to send a message. But the fact that they felt the need to go to such extreme, aggressive lengths just to win points off a 20-year-old rising star shows you exactly who holds the real psychological power in this dynamic. Ostapenko, a major champion, felt so threatened by Eala's baseline game that she refused to engage in neutral rallies. The veterans knew that if the ball bounced more than 3 times, Eala's incredible footwork, her heavy topspin, and her legendary Nadal Academy stamina would completely overwhelm them. So they acted like bullies, trying to end the points immediately, because they were terrified of a drawn-out physical war. Let us compare Eala's miraculous consistency to the veterans' chaotic performance. Look at Ostapenko and Baptiste's numbers. They only managed to land 67% of their first serves. They were entirely human. They were making mechanical errors, they were double faulting, they were struggling to find their rhythm. They won the match because they managed to scrape together a 68% win rate on their first serve and a 62% win rate on their second. They relied entirely on their massive heavyweight experience and their sheer physical bulk to push through the match. They used their weight advantage to generate cheap power, but they lacked the grace, the precision, and the beautiful, terrifying consistency that Alex Eala put on full display. And let's talk about the breakpoints, because this is where Eala's absolute refusal to surrender truly shines. The veterans, playing with this reckless, overpowered aggression, generated 10 breakpoint opportunities. 10 times, they tried to completely crush the spirit of the young pairing, but Eala fought tooth and nail for every single inch of that red clay. She made them bleed for those 5 conversions. And even when she was down, even when the scoreline looked bleak, Eala never stopped attacking. She and Jovic generated 5 breakpoint opportunities of their own. 5 times, Eala forced a Grand Slam champion into a corner and made her sweat. 5 times, Eala proved that she has the offensive firepower to completely dismantle the old guard's service games. She converted one of them, proving that the veteran's armor is not invincible. She found the cracks. She gathered the data. She learned exactly how they operate under pressure. This match was not a defeat, it was the ultimate, high-stakes reconnaissance mission. The veterans won the battle on the scoreboard, but Alex Eala absolutely won the war of development. You have to understand that this is exactly how a future legend is forged. You do not become a multi-time Grand Slam champion by playing easy matches against players who roll over for you. You become a champion by stepping onto the court against the biggest, hardest-hitting, most aggressive bullies on the entire tour, taking their absolute best, most desperate shots straight to the chin and realizing that you can survive it. Jelena Ostapenko and Hailey Baptiste essentially handed Alex Eala the exact blueprint for how the veterans are going to try to play her for the next 5 years. They showed her their entire hand. They proved that their only strategy against her is to swing wildly and hope for the best, because they cannot match her consistency or her court coverage. Eala is going to take this box score, she is going to take this 85% first serve perfection, and she is going to go back to the lab at the Nadal Academy, she is going to get slightly faster, she is going to get slightly stronger, she is going to add 5 miles per hour to that perfectly placed first serve, and the next time she sees these veterans across the net, it is going to be a completely different story. The old guard just played the absolute best, most reckless match they could possibly play, and all they did was awaken a sleeping giant. The fear in the veteran locker room has not vanished because of this result, it has multiplied. Because they know that Eala just survived their heaviest artillery, she maintained her incredible composure, and she is only going to get infinitely better from here. She is the undeniable future of this sport. She has the absolute unwavering support of this community, and a meaningless double scoreline on court 6 is not going to slow her down for a single second. I need you to flood the comments right now with support for our girl. Do you see the absolute brilliance in that 85% first serve rate? Do you agree that the veterans were playing with desperate, reckless fear because they know Eala's coming for their crowns? How incredibly proud are you of the composure and the mental toughness she showed out there against a Grand Slam champion? Drop your thoughts, your endless support, and your predictions for her massive comeback in the comments below. Because the story of Alex Eala is just getting started, the media narrative is officially dead, and the real fans know exactly who is destined to rule the WTA Tour.
And support in Indian Wells. Look at this. I mean, this was in Australia. Court 6 literally had a line. I know I'm exaggerating, but it went for miles at the Aussie. It was wild scenes there. Allie, can you remember a women's star who gets this type of support wherever she goes?
Yeah, well,